And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes, sir. Let's go touchdown Miami right there, AK.
After we were just talking about he couldn't throw the ball, he throws a 52-yard bomb and they punch it in.
Yep. I mean, that's just how it goes, man. Welcome everybody.
Because I put the CJ Stroud jersey on.
Oh God. Welcome everybody to the show, Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host Jordan Stacks on Stacks Labs. Joined with my guy, Mr. AK Aaron Kidd, live from Virginia. What's up, AK? It's been a minute.
Jordan, man, I'm back from a 2-week hiatus. Been grinding it out, man. Excited College Hoops is here and excited to be here with you. And man, I think you need to kick it off with a bet that goes here in about 20 minutes that I'm tailing you on.
Pacific plus 13 against Nevada. I like it. Nevada's coming off a upset over Washington. Pacific also just went on the road against Cal. But I really like what this Pacific team has looked like. So I am taking the points. My numbers have it at about 11.2, so we do have a slight edge. And we're gonna be tailing it, man. We're gonna be tailing it. I'm 3-0 betting on and against Nevada this year, so we're hoping to continue that.
That's what you call having a beat on a team.
I mean, I took them one time, they covered, faded them twice, or took them twice, they covered, faded them once, and they didn't cover. So we're looking good there. We're looking good on Nevada.
Well, I just locked it in, and I'm tailing you, Jordan. So let's ride.
Let's go, baby. We are being brought to you by the Sharps app, SHARPZ. Make sure to go download it. Use promo code JORD517. It's free. You can track your bets, become a better bettor. It's a good app. You can also tail other bettors or fade other bettors as well. So download the app, promo code JORD517. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Excited to be here. We're going to be talking college football week 11. We're also going to be talking some college hoops as we have a lot of, we basically have full slates of college hoops for the next 4 days. I'm talking like from morning to night. It's going to be college hoops all fucking day. So it's a great time of year. So excited to talk that. Excited to talk college basketball the rest of the season, AK, because we had a really great season last year and really, really stoked to continue that this year because last year we didn't even connect till the end of the year. And I'm excited to carry it this year because, you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, so we get a little bit of both worlds, you know what I mean? So excited for that. Excited.
That's right, man. I'm excited too, and I'll be Charlottesville tomorrow night watching the Wahoos take on the Texas Southern.
Nice.
Wahoos have looked good out the gate, man. They were a little undervalued coming into the season. A lot of people were, skeptical of the unknown of all the new players and coming in, but man, it's Tony Bennett. And when you got 2 first-round draft picks in Reese Beekman and Ryan Dunn, I got a stat line for you, Jordan. 21 minutes last night, Ryan Dunn had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 steals. I mean, when you got those 2 guys, man, potential first-round draft picks, 2 of the better defenders, not even in the ACC, but even the country. Yep. You mix that with some good transfers coming in, and they haven't even really got Jordan Minor going. So I'm also excited for my Wahoo hoops, man.
Yeah, Virginia does look good. First game of the season, they were like minus 17.5. I told you, I was like, man, we got to take them. You're like, I don't know. Laying that big of a number, and they've blown out basically every team they played. So, I mean, they've looked really.
And Florida, a lot of people are high on Florida this year, and they kind of stuck it in the mouth with them. The final score is a little didn't really indicate just how much UVA really controlled that game from start to finish. So man, I think the sky's the limit. We got a big game a couple weeks against Texas A&M coming to town, which I'll be there, and excited to see that happen.
God damn it, Texas A&M, bro. I faded them twice this year. They burned me twice. I'm not that high on them, dude. And like, I watched their games. I watched the 2 games I bet against them, and I'm just like, dude, like, how this team's good defensively, yeah, but I mean, like, offensively, they're so bad, bro. And I don't understand how the fuck they cover, dude. Like, they crushed Ohio State, which Ohio State isn't the greatest team in the world, but they like dominated the last like 10 minutes of the game. And same thing with SMU. Like, SMU was in the game all game, and then Texas A&M kind of just took over. But I don't know. Hopefully your Wahoos take care of business there, because I'm not high on Texas A&M this year, and I don't want to. I can't admit that I'm wrong on them yet. So I'm hoping things turn my way. But so early on in this college hoop season, like, what is your biggest, aside from Virginia, like, what's your biggest surprises and kind of biggest, I know it's early to say disappointments because we're not even like 3 games in, we're not even in conference play, but like, what's your biggest surprises and your biggest disappointments so far?
I guess this would be a surprise, but it's also something that I'm maybe biased towards. But man, the rise of the mid majors, with the transfer portal and all those kind of things we've got going on, man, the mid majors are here, man, and they're here to stay and they're here to play. And
Yep.
as a guy that's always kind of followed the smaller conferences, you mentioned me being on the East Coast. My wife graduated from High Point, so I follow the Big South really religiously. I get down to a couple of High Point games a year, if not more than a handful of games a year. So I really watch a lot of those teams. Of course, I go to 9 to 11 UVA home games a year in basketball, so I follow the ACC really closely. But I've still kind of always rooted for the mid majors, and man, we've seen some huge upsets already, and I think there's plenty more on deck too, especially with some of these tournaments that are getting started tomorrow.
Yep.
As far as disappointments, man, I don't know if I have like a big disappointment just yet.
Yeah, it's
It's kind of
hard. It's
early on in the
hard.
season.
Yeah.
Kind of kind of hard to say. If anybody follows the show, I follow New Mexico as a team quite often, and they got to get healthy, man, and that should happen when they got this 3-game stretch in Las Vegas in a tournament thing they're playing in. So I'm excited to see them up to full speed and strength, and see what they're really going to be made of this year.
Yeah. Nelly Jr. Joseph is on that team, formerly of Iona. I did fade them when they played St. Mary's, just because, I think St. Mary's defense is just so great. I also faded St. Mary's against Weber State. Weber State won outright, which was fucking incredible. Dylan Jones, man, that is an incredible player. Weber State, the favorite to win the Big Sky, for those that aren't familiar. But yeah, man, I'm like, it's like you said, it's hard to make a disappointment for sure, because it's so early. Like, I was high on Florida coming in. Zion Poland hasn't played the first 3. He's suspended for the first 3 games, so he hasn't even played yet, and he's supposed to be one of their big contributors. So I don't want to put a ton of weight into like what they've done, as of so far. But if I had to make a disappointment, AK, it would be Michigan State, because Michigan State's 0-2, and yes, they played 2 good teams in Duke and who did they play the first game that they lost to? James Madison in your backyard.
Yep.
James Madison. And but this is kind of how Tom Izzo teams are. They always start out slow, and then once they get into like deep conference play, that's when they really start to click. So like, I'm not gonna overreact. Like, yeah, they're definitely a disappointment to where I thought they were gonna be. I thought they were a top 10 team, and here they are 0-2 to start the year. But I'm not gonna overreact yet. That's one thing. I am surprised by Kentucky, dude. Kentucky looked a lot better than I did anticipate. So I am a lot higher on them. USC, I talked about their lack of guard depth with you. Boogie and Kobe were out last night. They end up losing to UC Irvine, and the lack of guard depth, without Bronny James being there, it showed once again. And like, that's going to be an issue going forward, because they don't have a backup point guard. Like, they are highly reliable on Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Collier to really carry the load. Like, those guys have to play 35 minutes a game, each of them, for that team to be good. But if they do, I do think that that is a team that can be competitive because that's probably the best backcourt in the country if we're keeping it a buck. So I'm excited for USC. I'm not going to take a lot into the loss. I told you last night after they were ruled out, and I had already bet USC minus 13. I was like, man, we're kind of fucked, but it's rough. Hoping Bronny gets back. Hoping he's healthy. He's supposed to get evaluated here in the next couple weeks. We're supposed to find out more about him, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, man, you're right, dude. The mid majors, AK. Very excited for the mid major conferences. Once again, the WCC looks like a very strong conference with St. Mary's, Gonzaga. Santa Clara looks really good. They just upset Stanford last night as well. Yep. Big Sky looks good. Weber State, obviously the upset over St. Mary's. We have what other the WAC not looking so good. They're 0-5 in their last 5 games, so not very good. But yeah, man, there's a lot of mid majors, man, that I'm really, really stoked on watching. Seattle's about to tip off here in a little bit, and excited to see if Seattle versus Northern Arizona. Excited to see Pacific against Nevada. Southern University upset UNLV, which UNLV is another team I was really high on coming into the year as well. So I'm very excited for this college basketball season, man. I truly am, and I know I keep saying that, but I love basketball. Is my favorite sport for those that are unaware, and college basketball is my darling, dude. As much as I love the NBA, I watch college basketball. Ben and I talked about this last night. I watch college basketball religiously till March, and then once March ends, then I really focus in on the NBA.
I tell you what, Jordan, former High Point transfer who I've watched go nuts in High Point last year is Jaden House. He's coming as advertised for Rhode Island too, and that Rhode Island team I think is going to be really tough and led by Jaden House. So excited to see what he's got in store. But he's picking up right where he left off, man. And I think I think when he's all said and done, I think he'll play ball at some sort of pro level. So great, glad to see a former High Point guy.
Too small,
doing well.
Too small, in my opinion.
I think he'll play pro ball somewhere.
Oh yeah, he'll play pro ball overseas probably.
Yeah. But if you guys don't know, he grew up right in my backyard, and I've kind of followed him. It was really sad that UVA didn't get him.
Yeah. Surprised Rhode Island got him, dude.
Yeah, now he's gone on to Rhode Island, but I was glad that he went to High Point, being a school I follow really close because my wife's alma mater. So love seeing him, and love seeing him just picking right up where he left off. So
is High Point close to you, AK?
Yeah, like an hour and 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, I'm 50 minutes to Charlottesville north, or go south about an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm at High Point.
How close is VCU to you?
VCU is like 2 hours.
Damn, you got a ton of fucking universities around. You got Liberty right in your backyard.
Oh, I'm 30 minutes from Longwood. Hour from Radford. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them play. I've seen Longwood play a lot. I usually always make it to the Longwood and High Point game. It's a pretty big game in the Big South. So, yeah, I got plenty of them around me.
That's crazy. And you got, Baltimore right up the road too. So you got UMBC right there, and then you got
I've never seen UMBC play at and I hate UMBC now because of what they did to UVA, but I also have a certain appreciation for UMBC because, believe it or not, 30 years ago, the first basketball game I ever went to in the old Wahoo's Arena was against UMBC. So I always have a special place in my heart.
It's crazy, AK, because Ryan Odom was the coach of UMBC when they upset Virginia, and now he's back. Now he's at VCU. So,
but he went to Utah State.
Yeah, he went to Utah State. Now he's back at VCU. So he's back in his his territory.
Yep.
What were you gonna say?
Well, you know where he started at, though.
Where, Virginia?
Virginia Tech, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Under Buzz Williams?
Yeah, yep.
It's kind of crazy because he's not really a defensive coach.
Nope.
So I'm actually kind of surprised by that, dude.
Yeah, so Hampton-Sydney, which is so when you say Longwood, literally on the same strip of road right there. So it's like Longwood, Hampton-Sydney. it's like very close together, as far as colleges, but Hampton City's a Division III school. Ryan Odom was a superstar there for 4 years. He's like a local legend.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. Then he coached at
Why the fuck did you go to Utah State, dude?
yeah, he coached at Jesus, why am I drawing a blank? Drew Pember, UNC Asheville. He
Okay.
was assistant coach there and Virginia Tech. Yeah,
Nice. Look at that.
yep,
Come on, Taproom Sports, and get a gem dropped like that. Now you guys can all know where Ryan Odom's from.
yep. It's a true story, man. Yeah, about 40 minutes from here. Yep.
It's crazy. That is crazy. Nice, dude. All right, so college football. We haven't talked college football in a couple weeks, so let's talk some college football. It's been a minute since we've been on. So last time we came on here, we talked. Was it Oregon, Utah that week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or was it the week after that?
No, it was Oregon, Utah. Yeah.
So
And I said that I thought that Oregon would smash them.
yeah, you did. You did call that. They did smash them. I also said we should have played Utah against Washington, and they covered, and we didn't. But
Albeit maybe a little lucky, but it was a cover.
I mean, I'd be kind of concerned if I was a Washington fan, man. Utah was going up and down the field against Washington.
And Washington's been holding on for dear life for a few weeks, so
Yep.
it's a good segue to the next topic.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that though, what's your take on kind of like the college football playoff environment, like the picture, the landscape is like, Alabama has the SEC West locked up. They're going to be playing in the SEC championship. Georgia has Tennessee this week, big game. They lose that, a lot of implications there. So, what's kind of your outlook on the college football playoff scenario happening?
So
right now?
this is one of the reasons why I've been apprehensive about firing Oregon State this week. So I'll hold off on going much further than that, but. Washington's feeling some type of way because they got left out of the college football playoffs. So that's in the back of their head. But where some people will probably say that's probably motivation for Washington, I kind of think it's pressure, really. You know what I mean? I think that's added pressure to where, man, we got to go in here. We not only got to go to Corvallis and beat Oregon State. We've got to really punch them in the mouth, if you know what I mean. And so I do think it's interesting though that just how the voters on the panel are weighing like efficiency, right? Because Florida State's one of the most efficient teams in the country, not only on offense, but also on defense too, where Washington's faltered. So I think that's very interesting. I've been an advocate for 12 or 18 or 2014 playoff for years now. So I am very excited what we're going into. But as far as picking the top four, man, I'll be honest with you, Jordan, I think they've got it right so far.
Yeah, I agree that it's pretty, as of right now, I think it's right, especially after the last 2 weeks where like Georgia's really dominated. And then Brock Bowers is ruled out for the year like 3 weeks ago, and then he comes back
and scores a 58-yard touchdown.
Bro, I didn't even know he was coming back, and then like I saw him score a touchdown, and that's when I text you. I was like, hold on, Brock Bowers is back. Like what the fuck? What happened here? So I am a little surprised by that, and it's just weird because like Georgia really struggled to begin the year, right? And then when Brock Bowers went out, we were all like, oh yeah, like I don't know if this team's gonna be like that good, and like I don't think they're as good as they were last year at all. But it's like they just continue to like win, dude. And like we cannot let them win 3 titles in a row, because the first team that should have done that was USC in 2006, and Vince Young stopped them. I
one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, but I don't want Georgia to win, so I'm really hoping that Alabama could beat them in the SEC championship, and I'm starting to watch Alabama, and like Alabama's really starting to click. They're starting to figure
ever
things
since
out.
the Tennessee game, the second half of the Tennessee game.
Yep.
It happened then, the second half. I don't know what Nick Saban did. He's got like some pixie dust that he sprinkles on his players, and he just makes it happen, man. And kudos to him for doing it as long as he's done it. But it was that Tennessee game, me and you said, a switch flipped.
Mm-hmm. And I stupidly bet Kentucky last week plus +11. And that was never, that was over.
And a lot of every sharp friend that I have or that I know or can see what people play Kentucky. So I didn't play either side. I lean Kentucky, but I'm like, man, I'm not going to get back in front of this Georgia team. You know what I mean? Just because of the tear they're on.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in that one, and then you know, it was one of those instances where I was like, yeah, that's what I get for fucking stepping in front of a Nick Saban led team. So let me ask you this: Oregon, Alabama on a neutral field today. What do you make the line?
Oregon, Alabama on a neutral field. Uh, man, on a neutral field, I make it Alabama -2.5.
What?
Yeah, I think
Really?
Alabama's that good right now. I love Oregon, but I really that's how much I believe in Alabama, and because I know where you're going with this too, and I do agree with you that Alabama could win a playoff game, if not two.
No, I agree. I think Oregon can too.
Yeah, I just
Oregon, because
man.
AK Oregon should have won that Washington game.
Oh, I agree. I
They're the
was on
better
Oregon.
team. Yeah, they're the better team.
Yep.
We know that, right? So like they're going to go to the Pac-12 championship,
Yep.
right? It's only a matter of who they play. Now Oregon State versus Washington has huge implications this week. If Oregon State beats Washington, Oregon State has to beat Oregon to get into the championship. But if Washington wins this game, it's basically a lock. Oregon versus Washington.
Yep. Yep.
And if Oregon,
You know, I think Alabama, man. I'm an SEC guy, and I don't want to get into SEC versus Pac-12 versus ACC guys, man. But I've just seen a different Alabama team the last few weeks, man. I really have, and I swear it started on my birthday.
yep,
That's that Saturday and we were actually on Alabama in that game. And I'm telling you, the last few weeks, Jordan, I've seen. I'm not going to say the old Alabama, but I've seen what we've come to know as Alabama.
yep. The second it flipped, dude. It
Yep.
definitely flipped that second half, and they've kind of figured. And I think the biggest thing is like they're starting to use Jalen Milroe for his strengths. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where they're really getting to run the ball and then play action fake and get him on it. So I mean I'm with you. I was gonna say pick 'em between those two. I think it's a pick 'em game because I am high on this Oregon team. I said Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12. And honestly, I think if Oregon and Washington play again in the Pac-12 championship here in Vegas, I think Oregon fucking beats the brakes off of Washington, bro. They probably beat them by 2 touchdowns
I could see it happening.
because Washington can't stop nobody. Bro.
Washington's just been living, yeah, and they've been just living on this.
They're like the Vikings from
getting
last
by.
year, bro.
That's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't want to compare it to NFL. But that's so funny you said that because that's exactly what I was thinking. And like, it's just one of those. It's like the baseball team that anytime you need a hit, you get it,
Yeah.
right? Or anytime you need to turn two, you get it.
Yep.
It's just like they've been very, very lucky.
Yep.
What
It's
a
okay to say it.
92-yard pick six a few weeks ago. It's so many things that are like, wow, that actually happened. And then it happened again, right? But at some point you see the wheels fall off.
Yep. And I hate to compare it to this, but I said the same thing about USC last year. Like USC could have very well had 4 losses last year, but the ball bounced their way, and this year it's not, and that's the biggest difference that you see. And like I think the same thing with Washington. Like Washington should have lost to Arizona State if it wasn't for the officials. Like I'm just keeping it completely honest. Like that was
Oh, is that the missed pass interference at the end?
total dog shit officiating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Total
Yeah.
dog shit officiating the whole game. And then they should have lost it. They could have very well lost to Stanford, right?
Yeah.
The USC game was kind of close. Caleb had 2 bad mistakes that kind of flipped the whole game. And then, and then against Utah, like Utah's moving the ball up and down the field against them with a fucking 3rd-string quarterback. So now it's like, now they got to go to Corvallis, right? And face a team with DJ Ukulele, who seems to be, this team is clicking all cylinders and they're great at home. So now it's like, if they lose this game, I feel like it's going to be very similar to USC last year, where USC lost to Utah in a game that was a coin flip, right? At Utah. It was a 1-point game to end the game. So now, I feel like if Washington loses this game, and then they go into the championship against Oregon, I just think Oregon's going to dog walk them because Oregon's a much better team. They should have won the game the first time. You know, it was another one-score game that went opposite or in Washington's favor. So honestly, like, I don't think Washington is going to get in the playoff for sure. I think they're done. There's no way they win the Pac-12, bro.
Yeah.
Even if
And
Oregon
here's the
State
thing with Oregon State, like Oregon State's defense is as good as like a Utah, right? People are forgetting Oregon State's defense is up there. So even if you give me like, okay, it's even, right? If you take away the, excuse my language, but the dumbass fake field goal attempt against Arizona, right?
Yep.
You're talking about a team that's 9-1. And really, we were on the Oregon State, unfortunately lost our bet against Washington State. Washington State won one quarter of that game.
Yep, the first quarter.
Now, Baron, it was ugly.
21-0.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but it was like 24-0 after the first quarter. But then Oregon State came all the way back and almost beat them. If there was 4 more minutes on the clock, Oregon State beats them in that game. So really, if you take that one quarter in the Washington State game away, you take away the idiocracy of what we were thinking about faking the field goal against Arizona
and trying to run your kicker 33 yards in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a 10-0 team. So I think Oregon State, man, I think they're really, really tough. They run the ball, which Washington can struggle sometimes against stopping the run. Oregon State will control the clock, which keeps that offense off the field. And I think it's just a grinded out type of game. And that's not a game that Washington wants to play. Oregon State wins those type of games in an environment that you preach about it all the time. It's hard to play there, man. So
Yep.
I think Oregon State's got a chance to, I want to say, pull off the upset, even though they're favorite, but I mean, it feels like it's an upset. But
on top of that, AK, Michael Penix Jr., 48% completion percentage under pressure. So I definitely think Oregon State's going to get to him. I think they're going to throw blitzes at him, and I think they're going to make his life very difficult. And that's basically why Alex Grinch is on his couch right now, is because he watched the game, or actually he probably didn't watch it, but if he watched the game film from Arizona State and Stanford, he would have seen the way to beat Washington is blitzing Michael Penix Jr. You can't throw under pressure. So I think Oregon State's going to do that because that's what they do. That's what Oregon State does. And they have a much better defensive line than any of those teams. And they're good against the run. So Washington's not going to be able to, kind of stop the pressure and run the ball because Oregon State's defense is good at stopping the run. So I think that's the biggest thing in this game. Plus, like we've been talking about Corvallis, the home field advantage. I'm telling you guys right now that stadium is going to be fucking bananas, dude. It's going to be loud as fuck. It's going to be... What time is that game at? Is it a night game?
Yeah, it's night.
Whoo! Yeah. Give me Oregon State. Give me... I would take it up to -3, bro.
Yep.
I really would. I like Oregon State. The only thing that's kind of kept me off of it is the fact that Oregon State has Oregon coming up, which is their rival game, the Civil War. But, Oregon State beat Oregon last year, so I expect Oregon to beat the fucking brakes off Oregon State this year. Although, I do believe the game is played in Corvallis this year, because I do believe it was played in Eugene last year, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if I was right.
Well, I think you got your cover in Buffalo. Miami just allowed an 80-yard touchdown.
No fucking way.
Yep.
I got the NBA on TV. I missed the Celtics.
No, Oregon State has to go to Oregon. They beat them in Corvallis, last year.
Yeah, so Oregon probably beats them this year. Oregon State, they had to win that Arizona game basically to have a chance at the Pac-12. They lost that game, kind of set them back. Unfortunately, they're not going to get there, but I definitely think that. Well, I mean, Washington plays Washington State next week, right? In the Apple Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a good chance they lose that game. It's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
I know Washington State's kind of really fallen off a cliff in the last 6 weeks, but it's a rivalry game, dude. You can never count out a rivalry game ever.
No.
So if you're Jonathan Smith, you're telling your guys, bro, we win this week, we go take care of next week, even though we probably don't have a chance against Washington at Autzen Stadium. there's a great chance Wazoo beats Washington and we are playing in a Pac-12 championship. So let's go take care of business tonight in front of our crowd, and let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really like Washington this week. I'm sorry, Oregon State this week, AK.
Yeah, me too.
What other games are you looking at this week that you got your eye on?
Jordan, it's not the greatest slate, to be honest with you. I've been so invested in college hoops, it feels like this week, that I haven't really dove that much more into it. And so I'll be honest, I'd be lying to you if I said I've really looked at a lot more other things. But one line that did jump out to me, SMU and Memphis. SMU's got to go to Memphis in 8.5. Man, that feels like a little too much. I may be looking at hopping on some action on Memphis. Getting 8.5, getting a touchdown at home. A Memphis team that, yes, their defense has been atrocious all year. I'm so glad to have gotten there already on our season win total of 7.5. But they're a team that can go up and down the field and score on you. There's been twice in the last 2 weeks where they were down 2 or more touchdowns in the fourth quarter and came back and won. So in regulation. So, never count that team out. And when you're catching 8.5 at home against that team, I think that might be a look.
Okay, what do you think about Georgia minus 10.5 against Tennessee at Tennessee?
That's a game I've seen it tick down to 10 some places. It's a game that I really don't want to get involved with. Tennessee hasn't looked great. We all know that since the Alabama game, really. But
and Mizzou just dog walked them.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll be honest, I thought that line was going to be closer to like 12.5. And when I saw it was like 10.5, I'm like, hold on now. That's not what I thought it was going to be. And games when I'm just like immediately thrown off by that, I really just don't dive any more further into it.
This is the kind of game where I'm playing the dog or I'm not playing nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
It's either Tennessee or nothing, and I agree with you, but I do think that Tennessee kind of got caught in that look ahead against Mizzou last week, and Mizzou's a good team that you can't overlook, man. So I think that kind of hurts them, but bro, like, what's his name? Joe Milton. He's so Jekyll and Hyde, bro.
Yeah,
some games he looks good.
He's got a cannon, but then he'll just overthrow people.
He gets happy
I watched this in the UVA game. Yeah, it's just like a routine slant, and he's just like airmailing them.
Yep, he gets happy feet, dude. Like, he doesn't set his feet. He doesn't fucking throw with conviction. And, like, that's when he gets into trouble. But then there's games where, like, they played Kentucky, and he looked phenomenal. You know what I mean? They were moving the ball up and down the field, or against South Carolina. The 2 games I bet against Tennessee, of course. Well, 2 of them. 2 of them. I bet against this team a lot because I'm not really high on them. But this game here, to me, is like their Super Bowl. So it's either you bet Tennessee or you just stay away.
100%, yep.
And Georgia's coming off like 3 wins against the spread, too. After being
where they struggled covering the number early on in the season. So like I said, that line, I thought it was going to be one of those like 11.5, 12.5 lines, kind of dead man zone. And I saw 10.5. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that did shock me too. I was kind of on there too. What other big games do we have this week? We got what else we got? We got a lot of these teams have like injuries too, so it's like not even the same.
I thought North Carolina and Clemson early on in the season was going to be a good game this week. But
not so much anymore.
Yeah, so much anymore.
Dude, you're right. This slate is just fucking dog shit. But it is.
I'm telling you, Jordan. Like I've really dove. Like I tried diving into it early on. Like I always look at stuff on Sunday, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't love this week.
Yeah, it's a lot of bad games, dude. But I mean, you can
when you start
find value.
When you start the app off, your scores app, whatever you're checking on with, Chattanooga and Alabama playing, you're like, well, okay.
Man, no joke. Michigan at Maryland, that could be a good one. Maryland catching 20.5 points, 19.5.
If there's ever a spot you want to bet Maryland, this would be the one.
This would be no Jim Harbaugh on the field. And then also next week, is it next week? Michigan versus Ohio State, or the week after? No, it's next week.
Yeah, it's next
week's
week.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, so could be a very good look at spot there. We could also get a look at a spot with Ohio State. Who are they playing? They're
Is
playing,
it Rutgers? No, they're playing. Rutgers is playing Penn State.
Oh,
Sorry,
they're playing Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah,
Damn, they're laying 27.5.
yeah, I saw that too.
Ooh, I don't know about that, dude. I don't know if Kyle McCord can fucking cover 27.5 unless it's against Western Kentucky. I don't.
Dude, the boy fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line for Buffalo. He fumbled at the 1 yard line. They reviewed it. It's Miami's ball.
No way.
I think he did one of those like where you celebrate early before you cross the goal line, and they just reviewed it, and Miami got the ball back at the 1.
Oh my goodness, dude. Buffalo's atrocious.
Yeah. Yep. He was ruled. He fumbled the ball at the Miami 1 and recovered, and it was a touchback because the ball went out of the end zone.
Wow. What a way to lose that bet. That's fun. It's always good times. Well, we move. Damn, Northern Arizona up 14-4 on Seattle right now.
That's what I was questioning that line earlier. I was like, is Seattle really good enough to just be laying 13.5? Like, on a Wednesday night? Like, this is Taproom Sports Night. And we're laying 13.5. Come on, Seattle.
I mean, Seattle is a really good team, but they do struggle covering big numbers.
But for years, Jordan, like I've watched Seattle a lot over the years because if you remember, maybe the COVID year, they were like a covered machine. Do you remember this? But they were dogs all that year. But then, like for like the last 2 or 3 years, they've just been favorite, and they just struggle to cover
because of that year. They got
right.
They got overvalued by the market, dude.
Am I thinking right? Was it the COVID year?
Yeah, no, it was because no, it was 2021, the year after.
It was 2020. It was the year after the COVID year. Sorry, right.
Because last year, I remember, they were like 10-point dogs against Washington. They got like bet all the way down to like 5.
And they got smoked.
They got smoked, dude.
Yeah,
Washington
right.
crushed them.
Dude, I'm so fucking hyped at Miami, Ohio. Let's go.
I can't believe that shit, bro.
Yeah, he chucks the ball at the goal line, but he didn't cross the goal line, and it goes out the back of the end zone.
Unbelievable. College football, man.
No, that's Maction, baby.
It's funny too because like I didn't make a single bet in Maction yesterday, and all my leans they all cashed, and I was like, all right, I gotta play Buffalo today because I'm leaning Buffalo, and of course, that happens.
Jordan, I do have to say I took my L on Akron, but I haven't been on the show since all my season win total started cashing. So kudos to me and you, Boston College, over 5.5 wins. Irv, you got it wrong, buddy.
Yeah,
we're taking that as a win. So we cashed Boston College, me and you. Me, you, and our good buddy CT, which was a bet that we really chalked up on the show.
Yep.
Like all organically. Like we hadn't talked about that pre-show at all. And we chopped it up. So shout out to Kansas over 5.5 wins. Me, you, CT cashed. Me, you, CT all cashed Iowa over 7.5 wins. So kudos to all three of us there. And then also I talked CT into ride with me for a decent amount on Memphis over 7.5 wins, which was, my favorite bet all the way back like in May. So cash off all of those. Did take a loss on Akron, unfortunately. DJ Irons getting hurt. Obviously, you lose your starting quarterback in the 4th game of the season. It's tough to get there. But hey, I take a 4-1 season win total win. It's a very good net win for me, and be looking to do it again next year.
Yeah, that was good. Good calling on Memphis. Once I didn't get the 7, and it moved to like 8, closed at like 8, and I was like, I don't know about that. That's tough. Moved too much. Oh, by the way, Long Island is only down 1 against UCLA right now.
Oh, of course they are. When I bet them the other night, they score 1 basket in the first half.
They score more than that, but yeah, they got the brakes blown off them.
Taproom Sports starting 5 would have definitely beat them that night.
Yeah, they're a really bad team, bro. Like even at plus 35, I would not have suggested anybody bet that team at all. That's how bad that team is. If you guys don't know, Long Island University, very very bad basketball team. Probably the worst.
Are they the worst team in college basketball? Like I think they're there.
Oh, let's see. I can tell you right now. I mean, as of this year and like some of the stats last year, they are no Mississippi Valley State is considered the worst.
Okay.
Coppin State or Lemoyne, Coppin State, St. Francis, Houston Christian, all worse than them. But yeah, they're 357th out of 362 teams.
Nevada's coming out the gate strong. Pacific needs to get it together.
Yeah, they did have a good start. They are shooting basically 100%. They only have one miss.
Northern Arizona is up 18-6 on Seattle right now.
Man, I knew we should have fucking played Northern Arizona. It's a bad team though. Northern Arizona.
Yeah, they are.
It's tough to play that. Tomorrow we got some college hoops. Has there been any games you've looked at so far?
Yeah, so some college hoops, some lines are starting to post on DraftKings and some of your more legal books. Your offshores haven't really started posting a lot of lines yet.
Yeah, they usually don't post till like 1 p.m.
North Texas is a very good team. I know St. John struggled against Michigan mightily, but I think that may have created a spot where they may be a little undervalued now.
Agreed.
I know North Texas plays very good ball. They slow the game down. But I think Rick Pitino and St. John's probably get after it tomorrow.
New coach at North Texas too.
Yeah.
Remember, their last coach, I forget his name, but he's at Texas Tech now.
Yep.
So, I do agree with that spot. I do think that everybody in the country seeing St. John's kind of get fucking waxed by Michigan probably leaves a bad taste in their mouth. Like you said, it's a little spot where the market kind of overvalues a team. That's kind of why I played George Mason today, because everybody saw Cornell beat not Providence. They saw him beat Fordham as like 5-point dogs. So everyone's like, oh, they're only a 3-point underdog against George Mason. Like, I'm going to take that, and felt like it was a little overvalued by the market. And I do think you're right. I do think there is some value on St. John's there. St. Louis versus Wyoming is going to be interesting. Wyoming's not as good as, they once were. They lost a lot of talent. They're really good at home, but obviously this game they're not home. They're on a neutral field. So that's something to keep into consideration. Yeah, there's not a ton of lines out yet. Not a ton of lines, but there are some games I do have my eye on that I'm looking at. Liberty versus Furman. I think that's
that'll be a good game for sure. Liberty smoked Charlotte, and you saw what Charlotte did tonight to our Utah Valley bet.
Yep. Liberty's a pretty good team.
Nevada is shooting almost 100% from the field right now.
Yeah, they're like 95. They only have one miss. Pacific, not the best defensive team, but they do shoot the 3-ball well, so they can always come back, dude. They were down by like 7 against Cal and ended up winning by 9.
Yep.
At Cal.
So funny with college basketball teams. You kind of touched on this a couple nights ago in our group text, but it's like every season I have to remind myself like how many college basketball teams live and die by the 3.
Yep, there's a lot of high variance teams, dude.
Yep.
Pacific's only taken 6 shots, 4 of them have been 3s, and they're 1 for 4. And Nevada, on the flip side, not a good 3-point shooting team. They're 2 for 2 from 3. So
I think it was the year after the COVID year, maybe 21, where Citadel. Do you remember when Citadel played at like the number one efficient, like the number one tempo pace like in the country, and they just shot like 43s a night, and it was like you just never knew what Citadel team you were betting on. Like either they were going to come out, and knock down 18 threes, or they were going to go like 4 of 30 from 3, and it was so frustrating.
That's Syracuse this year, dude.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
buyer beware of Syracuse, dude. If you back Syracuse, I'm telling you right now, like 40% of their shot attempts are from three. So if they have a cold night, you are fucked. You are absolutely fucked. And that's
You
the
might
thing.
as well pack it on in.
But that's the thing
Get
about
the bid early that night.
that's the thing about betting on high variance 3-point teams. But like Pacific, I told you earlier today, I was like, Nevada's not good against the three, right? They're not good at defending the three, and Pacific is a good, efficient 3-point shooting team. So I figured, we get a good shooting night. And it's early still, so I'm not gonna put a ton into it, but we'll see how it plays out. Northern Arizona, man, they're gonna win that game outright. AK, maybe.
Yeah, they're up 19-9 now.
And once again, I told you, Cameron Tyson, bro, 2 of 5 from the floor, 5 points.
Yep.
When he has a bad night, it's hard for them to get going. All right, AK, we got any best bets?
Let's go, y'all.
Yeah, so I know we kind of chalked it up, and I'm sorry to the viewers that half of our show consists of that game, but that's how big this game is, man. Oregon State, however you want to play them, man. I haven't fired it yet, but I'm most likely firing it tomorrow. I might be looking. I still saw some minus 130s out there on the money line. I think Oregon State money line, man. It's my best bet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oregon State. I'll take the minus 2.5 as long as it's under 3. I'll definitely play it. So I'm with you on that.
I'll also tweet it out in the morning when these offshores really start posting lines. But I'm really looking at St. John's tomorrow, Jordan.
Yep, I agree. St. John's looking good. I got my eye on a couple others too, so we'll definitely be.
Have you noticed how college basketball lines haven't been getting posted until like super late at night?
Yeah, they do it like 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. your time, dude.
Yep.
Like pretty much all the time. And some books don't even post till like 3 in the morning.
Yep.
You just never even know. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for follow AK at AK Sports 90. You can follow myself at Jordan Rules TSP. We'll have some plays up there, but we're both on Oregon State this weekend. Do you think that's a solid bet? I'm also leaning Tennessee plus 10.5.
No.
I'll probably get there. I'll tweet it out. But yeah, follow us on.
I'll be tweeting from John Paul Jones Arena tomorrow night.
Nice. Virginia, the Wahoos against Texas Southern, huh? What are they laying?
Yeah.
Like minus 40?
Gosh, I haven't seen a line for it yet.
It's gotta be up there somewhere. So thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate y'all. Follow us on Twitter once again, at AK Sports 90, at Jordan Rules TSP or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it now. We'll be posting our college basketball plays there for sure. Oregon State money line, that is our play. I like it minus 2.5 up to 3, -2, -2.5. I think it's a solid play. So we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week to talk some more college football as we get into we're really heading into college conference championships, AK.
Yep.
We're right there, so we'll be talking conference championships, bowl games, etc. More college hoops the rest of the year for sure. So thank y'all for hanging out with us. We'll catch y'all later. For Aaron Kidd, I'm Jordan Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Lads, catch y'all later. Peace.